Yes, everyone, you are welcome to today's tutorials. Welcome to today's training. The training I'm about to do is quite easy. That's why you see that the time on our video is not really long. So I would be using a stretchy fabric, and then it's a very quick one. So I would be cutting out my base, and the length for my base is 7 inches by 16. 7 by 16, that is, the length is 16 and then the width is 7, and I will be having two of that. Then next, I would be having the cover for my turban. Turban is always having a cover, so I'll be having the cover for my turban, and the height of the cover is 12 inches and then while the length is 30. So we are having 12 by 30. Yeah, 30. Yeah, good. So 12 by 30 inches for the cover. And then we would have a part of this fabric that we would be using to cover the foam, which I intend to use in designing this turban. Like I said, this turban is a very easy one, and this is the foam that I wanted to use, or that I'm going to use. I'm sorry. So the foam wasn't really long enough. I had to like put them together and stitch the middle to make it long enough. Yeah, and nothing will be wrong with it. And then the next thing I did was to get a separate material to first of all wrap the foam. Now the reason I did that is because if you do not first of all wrap this foam and you try to pull it through the middle of the fabric we are going to use for the design, the foam will start breaking. The foam is not that strong. So when you try to force it through your material that you have sewn to size, it's, sometimes it will just keep cutting, and you don't want that to happen. So to avoid that from happening and help to what's the right word now, to energize or strengthen the foam, you would need a separate material of any type. It can be a satin, it can be what they call this now, um lining. You understand, just something to hold it together and strengthen it so that it will not break. So that's the first thing I did with the first material there. And then the one I'm sewing now, I want to use that to cover it, so that while I'm doing the design, the foam will be inside this one. And I already told you that the measurement for this one is 7 inches by 60. 7 inches because the foam is 3 inches, so you would need to like have the space you will use to close it. So you cannot say the foam is normally the foam is 3 inches, you use the length. No, that's the width of the foam times 2. So 3 times 2 would have given us 6, but you cannot work with 6 because that would be the exact measurement. So you needed to add 1 inch extra, which will help you to sew the edge before turning it out. So we have 7 by 60. I hope that one is clear enough. So the next thing is to just turn it out. And then to sew the cap is one of the easiest aspects of this tutorials, though I'm making a cross base, which is like a V front. I told you before that the length I'm using for the base is this 6 inches I said now? I think so. I think it's 6, or is it 7 by 16? 7 by 16. So when you fold it into 2, it will become 3.5. And the reason it is that way is because you would need that half to attach it to the base. So even if you intend to work with 3, you just have to add half, which will help you to attach it to the base. So we have 7. When you fold it, it becomes 3.5. So we just cross and attach to the base the way you see me doing it right there. But the cover I used, I doubled it because I don't want the rough edges from the part we use in joining the base to be showing. So the cover is on the back and the front, which helped me for a very good finishing. And then because this fabric is a stretchy one, you do not need to add any form of belt to it. So the only thing you need to do is to just cover it to the edge side. So if for instance the edge is 22, you can cover it with 10.5. You are not covering with 11 10.5 or 10 so that it can be fitted on the head. It's quite stretchy. The fabric is very, very stretchy. All right, so back to business. It's time for us to design, and this is the foam. You can see that the part where I joined the foam is no longer showing because I have already used another fabric to strengthen it. All right, so that part is not showing. Then I'm now fixing it into the original material I want to use for the design. And then the next thing I did was to first of all hold one of the end of the foam together with the material, and then I will stretch it so that the material can be smoothened along the foam. I will stretch it to the other end, and then I'll still use my big needle or pin to hold it down. After that, I will what's the right word now? I will locate the middle of the foam, that's the midpoint. From the midpoint I will tie. um so when you tie, because the tying is the only design, you have to arrange it as you pull it close to become smaller. You have to arrange it, so you do not just like cross it and tie anyhow e land, let it remain like that. No, as you are tying, you are arranging, knowing that the remaining part of this foam has to face a particular direction, and it has to be flat while it will be resting on the turban. So while you tie, you arrange, you look at what you are doing, you can turn the foam as you tie, but you have to be careful though, because I have strengthen it up with another material, it will not break. But if you do not strengthen it up and you just pass it through into your material without first of all using any form of other material like lining or whatever, the foam will break as you are trying to tie. So please take note of that. So we tie it like this. So you can see that at the end of the day, what I got from tying it is okay, and I needed to tie it into two places. So from the middle again, I will take the next tie, arrange it well, and this is what I will get. The tie is very easy. You can make up to 20 a day, I'm telling you, if you start in the morning. So you can look at it how it appears on the head of my model. Okay, there's one more thing that I do and I want you to know about it. Now when you tie this like this, if you do not secure it to place, it has a way of losing shape, and you don't want that to happen. In the world of creativity, we look at how do we make our things to be outstanding. Being outstanding is that's what will differentiate you from other producers out there, making sure that your work is very okay. All right, so the first thing I did was to close the back. You might want to know what's the length I use in closing this back. Of course, 11 or 12 is perfect when you are closing this back. Remember that the foam itself is stretchy, so you don't really have too much of stress with it. You don't really need to make it too bigger than the head. That will just make it the head size. And then you can also see that I am cutting out the excess foam from the material, and I did not cut the material. The reason I did it that way, pardon my language, the reason I did it that way is because I want a situation whereby when I weave, the foam will not show at all. So I will cut out the foam and then go and weave it directly on the material, and then this is what the result will look like. So to finally keep my knot in place, that is the tying, I need to glue. I have to glue it. So you have to like pump in some quantity of hot glue and then just pat it together like you are seeing me doing now. So it will not allow this knot to loose at any time at all. So you do it on both sides, turn the back, fix the glue on it, pat it a little just like that, and then go to the next one and then pour some glue on it. Just look at the openings where I am using to pour the glue. I want everyone that is a member of Creative Hands, our community, to be outstanding in what they do. So if you're a turban producer, do not be afraid. I am here to help. I don't really see any reason why I shouldn't give you every secret you need. to get your work perfect, and at the end of the day you are a boss. You can become a boss of your own, you understand. You don't really need to go anywhere to say I'm training before you can make turban. With Creative Hands International, your professionalism is ensured. You just keep following our videos, follow the steps you see me doing. Don't pass through any shortcut will not favor you. Follow the steps, all right. So now that I'm very sure that the knots are secured, I'll just bring this design on the turban, and then from the same line where I close the turban and the line where I close the foam, I'll just put it together and pull it together. It's quite easy. You don't need to take it to a sewing machine to finish up this process. You don't really need that. But if you insist you can't do that, it's not really out of place to use your sewing machine. But I'm telling you that if you use your hairs, it's perfect. So this is the result we get. All right, now what makes this turban very outstanding is your ability to get a very good embellishment for it. So please, whenever you are producing yours, go and look for very good embellishment and just attach at the middle. This particular one I attach at this middle, I'll be removing it. I just use it for the purpose of this tutorials. I'm going to get a very unique one because that's what will make it attractive to your client. All right, I do hope you love today's tutorial. For now, I am done and it will be bye from my hand. If you have any questions, do not forget to ask. I will respond to you. And please do not forget to subscribe. All right, I want you to subscribe. Please do so. Grow this community. Tell people about Creative Hands International. Recommend the channel and I will be very glad you did. Don't forget to like this video if you really love it. Hit on that like, the notification bell as well. Bye.